You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Lieb Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at liebsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
The Eagles will keep the offense out there in a 4th and goal from the 1.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. Here we go.
I would feel better at this point taking the 3 points.
Here we go.
And if you make it, it's great. But if you don't make it, it's a big momentum swing.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go.
Goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it. And it's a touchdown by Nick Foles.
Let's go.
Russian 3, dropping 8. Uyangalele steps up, loads and throws. It's caught. It's pitched backwards, up in the air. It's on the ground, still in Clemson's hands. And now it is down. It is over. And the Irish have knocked off #1 Clemson.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
We did it our way, baby. We did it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Huddle Up Podcast. We are live. It is Tuesday night, December the 7th, 2021. We are glad to be with you. A full group here, a full panel for this Tuesday night. And we have tons to talk about. And Kyle, before you even say it, hopefully in less than a month, when Marcus Freeman gets his first win as the head coach of the University of Notre Dame, I will replace the Mike Tirico clip so you don't have to hear it anymore, okay?
Actually, the Mike Tirico clip, you got to tell. I mean, listen, I thought I was going to be late because Santa was coming by in my mom's neighborhood and the grandkids and grandma were going to hang out and see Santa and all that. Yeah, exactly. So I was all set up for the Philly side of it. And, you know, if you were going to give me hell if I was late, I'd be like, oh, look, you boo Santa Claus too, Cowboys fan. It'd have been great. But fortunately, you know, no trash talk because, listen, apparently Jim got something off the Christmas list, but he had to come out swinging. I will say this, Jim. You could very well put that clip of him being introduced to the team in there, and I would have zero beef whatsoever for the next 3 years.
You know, you're probably right, and I probably should have already done that. So when I do it, I will give you the credit, not the guy sitting next to you. He gives us fuel. He gives us fire. He gives us that which we desire. Our resident tool, EJ Christian.
Ooh, yeah.
How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm looking forward to tonight's show. I've been on here about 2 weeks, and a lot's happened in the last 2 weeks. So let's get to it, man.
Yeah, it certainly has. Matt joining us back here, sitting above EJ. Matt, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Above EJ, that's where I should be in the pecking order. Coming out firing today, buddy.
Let's talk real quick though. I wish I was on the show last week. I could have talked shit about us beating the Eagles, but we won't go there. It's okay.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I don't think I've come on and said the Eagles are a good team. So
Well, I mean,
congrats for beating a bad team.
But Matt, the question is, are they in your top 10? That's what I want to know.
Of course they are.
We will get there in about an hour and a half.
By the way, side note, I got to give credit to our resident AJ Hogg. First of all, you forgot the damn stogie again, Matt. Second,
Yeah.
I love that Uncle Rico's on the field for you guys, that he served you well this past week. What can I say?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Nice to have a passing quarterback this week.
Whoa! I tried to say something nice.
Are we now Uncle Rico all day? Are we Uncle Rico, Team Rico now going forward?
Oh, listen, no, but like, it's fun to see him do good because Uncle Rico, dude. Come on.
Right. I mean, let's not get crazy about it.
He's a serviceable backup, like the starting quarterback for the team is currently. I think both of them are great in relief, but neither one, I think, are franchise options.
Yeah, I asked my team leader at work today because he's an Eagles fan. I said, "Is it Minshew Mania in Philly?" And he goes, "Oh God, no." He knows stuff. I was just messing with him, but I'm switching it around a little bit because I figure why don't we just start with what is probably the biggest piece of discussion, and that's the college football playoff. The matchups are set. The New Year's 6 matchups are set. So let's start with it. Obviously, Cotton Bowl is number 1 Alabama versus number 4 Cincinnati. That'll be New Year's Eve at 3:30 on ESPN. The Orange Bowl, number 2 Michigan versus number 3 Georgia. That also New Year's Eve at 7:30 on ESPN. The rest of the New Year's 6 bowls: Peach Bowl, Michigan State versus Pitt. Fiesta Bowl is Notre Dame versus Oklahoma State. Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Utah, and Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss and Baylor. Okay, so let's start here. 1 through 4, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. Let's start here. 1 through 4, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. Why am I getting echo? Matt, let's start with you. Do you think the committee got this right?
I do not.
Okay. What did you think the top 4 should be?
I thought it should have been, can't believe I'm saying this, Michigan number 1, Alabama 2, Cincinnati 3, and Georgia at 4.
Wow.
Okay. EJ, do you think the committee got the top 4 right?
They got it right. Dead on 1 through 4. I saw a graphic when they were announcing the teams before they announced the top 4 teams, and then Alabama, the strongest schedule versus Michigan 1 and 2. So other than that, I mean, Georgia 3 makes sense. I know people here are saying that maybe it should be lower because of this. No, Georgia should have been number 3, 64. I mean, right, they got it dead on. I'm just glad since he got in personally. Thank God.
Kyle, I know this has been obviously a big talking point throughout the season.
Right.
Yeah.
If Cincinnati finished 13-0, would they get in? They did at number 4. Do you think the committee got the top 4 right?
So, first of all, I could sit where Matt sits, and if it came out that Michigan was 1 instead of Alabama, I'm cool with that. I'm not mad at what they did. But, Jim, I will go after your wording. Not because it's you, Jim Neese, who said a bunch of crazy things on Twitter. I'm joking.
Among many things.
I mean, if I'm not going to be crazy on Twitter, where am I going to be crazy? Let's
Clay Travis. That's what I say. Go.
Can we not derail Jim while I'm in the middle of giving a somewhat lofty, and he's gone. Please step aside. And he's gone. Please step aside. Oh, he's back from the green room. That didn't take long. Listen, thank you for putting me back in my spot.
You are welcome, sir.
I belong in the Georgia spot, not in the Cincy spot. I'm just saying. And speaking of the Cincy spot, Listen, guys, you've heard me preach my lack of faith in the community. I've been the naysayer. And I've even pitched to Jim before that we have a Kyle is right and Kyle is wrong segment, simply because I foresaw that this might happen and I would need to speak to it. But as I've said here, I feel like the committee got I'm going to say that the rankings are correct. I'm not here to say the committee got it right, and let me tell you why. There is no other result they could have been put forth that made any damn sense. Now, granted, our homer in the upper left corner might disagree with me, but the fact of the matter remains that if you take all the evidence here that we have in front of us, they could do literally nothing else for these four teams. And maybe, again, the placement might have been different, but these four teams were it. Their hands were forced. There are more statistical anomalies here than you've seen in any other place in college football. This season's been absolutely nuts. The committee didn't get it right. The universe compelled them to.
Here's the deal. I think the top four teams are the top four teams.
Okay.
Okay. I think Michigan probably should have been number one. If you look at over the last month of the season, particularly the last 2 weeks of the season, I think what Michigan did over the last 2 weeks was more impressive than what Alabama did over the last 2 weeks. If you look at individual games, obviously Georgia was number one throughout the season. Yes. Beating a number one team is more impressive than beating a number 13 Iowa. But I think what Michigan did over their final 2 weeks, I mean, if Auburn's running back doesn't go out of bounds 2 weeks ago, we're not talking about Alabama in the college football playoff. Or at least not at number one.
Okay.
At least not.
They're still in. Yeah.
And I get it. And yeah, but at the end of the day, you just said it. Georgia. We literally, I don't think anyone on this panel picked Georgia to lose that game. Nobody. No. There we go. And not only did Bama win the game, they won that game running. That's a
convincingly, yes.
And that's the thing. We all don't like Alabama. We get it, but they beat the best team in college football.
With them.
Well, but they beat that team in a close game. They were down to nothing. That was it. And then after that, the game was over. They just ran away. I mean, that's the thing. They made a statement, and that was it.
But I think automatically awarding one win makes you a little bit more of a victim of the moment too.
But it's also a massive win, though, Jim. It's the best win of the year against a team that we saw was from pillar to post the best team in college football get dominated. Okay, and another underrated point in that game too, though it was a neutral site game. Let's be real. That's kind of a built-in advantage for Georgia too. It was in Atlanta. I mean, I'm gonna go further than that.
But everybody wants to walk around. All year you hear about signature wins, this and that. What was Georgia's signature win?
What was okay? Hold on, we're gonna do this.
I'm just asking a question because if we're gonna talk about a clear-cut resume, and again, I'm not denying that all season Georgia should have been number one. I'm not questioning that.
So, Jim, here's what you've done though. Effectively, you've taken Clemson then out of the top four as well, because their signature win is Notre Dame, and we've talked about their lack of a signature win, and they probably shouldn't be 5 if you're using that logic. So now you've collapsed the entire top four, and if that's your goal, cool. But if you're going to talk this ish, bring your team into the fold, they need to be there too.
Right. My whole point is everybody wants to prop up 1 week of Alabama without ignoring the rest of the season. Like they're trying, like it could have gone either way. And the thing I said, I've said it on Twitter, I'll say it here. To me, it didn't necessarily matter who was 1 and 2 and who was 3 and 4. To me, I thought if you're gonna do the rematch or hope for the rematch or whatever, like I think the rematch should happen right away. I don't think the rematch should be the target of the national championship, which is what it feels like the committee did.
Right. Well, and that's what we're saying. I think, and I said it too, that Michigan at number 1 makes sense. Like, I'm not mad that they didn't put Alabama at 1. At 2. But that Michigan being number 1 makes sense. And the more we talk about, them being the ones that took Ohio State out of the process for the, Ohio State's been in a number of these playoffs. That shouldn't matter.
Oregon helped with that. Oregon did help with that, though. Be honest with you.
Yeah, that's
Alabama lost to Texas A&M. So
okay,
if we're gonna, you know what I mean, like if we're talking,
Ohio State,
if Oregon didn't help Ohio State, which didn't help Michigan, like Alabama lost to Texas A&M, who's now sitting at 25.
It becomes numbers game, but because numbers game at this point. 1 loss, 2 loss.
Right.
I mean, Ohio State didn't lose Oregon; they crashed this party too. But the reality is, what else here in this situation is that Alabama beat the best team in college football by miles, and that's what's the separation between the two at this point. And like I said that the graphic they showed on ESPN during the selection show, Alabama had a stronger schedule by Michigan by 1 slot, and that was the difference. It's not a big difference between the two, but
right. So you're splitting hairs there again. I don't necessarily have an issue with Bama at number 1. I don't. Michigan could have been 1. Alabama could have been 1.
I think the bigger argument is 3 and 4, if anything.
No, I can't sign off on that. Like, listen, here's where I'm
in comparison, Kyle, I'm saying to this one.
I don't agree. I don't agree at all. Again, I've explained how Notre Dame being manufactured to a certain height over and above not having a conference championship is ignored, and that's the signature win for Cincinnati, whose schedule is straight trash everywhere else.
Why is Notre Dame even discussed right at this point, though? That I don't get. We'll go back to Notre Dame, though.
The reason why Notre Dame's in the discussion is because they're Cincinnati's signature win. Pay attention, Ernest.
Yeah, but they Cincinnati beat Notre Dame and they're in, and that's just the bottom line.
He's not saying they're in the top 4 discussion.
Yeah, okay. I'm not. Okay. Listen, Julius, I know you're tired from multiple podcasts and all this other stuff. And you're gonna have to pod with me later, and I'm gonna dunk on you like Shaquille O'Neal again because you don't know football. But
you call me Chris Dudley?
I did. It's pretty great. At least we know for a fact Chris Dudley won't be in your top 25 podcast.
Oh, so
come on, Jim, where's the pig? Okay.
Ding.
And poor Matt's like, I gotta watch this showy fat guy again. Jesus Christ, I could have been smoking a cigar off there. Listen, man. No, what I'm getting at is, of all the years to have gripes and complaints, with this one, right. I'm sorry, I don't see it. Now, Jim, I am with you. I would have preferred to see that game that you're talking about, the SEC rematch, be a semifinal, and you and Matt both placed the teams thus. But, I think what makes it complicated, we mentioned Ohio State as the big win. What about the Purdue loss? Right, I misspoke myself earlier. Is that Purdue beat Ohio State? That's not accurate. I mean, that has to matter too. If we're going to have that conversation about Texas A&M, then we got to have that conversation about Purdue.
Who did Purdue beat?
Nobody here.
Michigan State.
Well,
Michigan's only loss is to Michigan State, which is a bad loss.
Right, but Michigan State lost to Purdue. So how much value is there in Michigan?
Again, and that's where I'm saying you start to dig into it. And the only reason I brought that up is because EJ brought up Oregon, which hurt Ohio State, which is trying to hurt Michigan. So it's again, you're playing a deeper numbers game when you start to go down that rabbit hole.
I can listen. You're the one that told the bald guy he was splitting hairs, unironically.
I can argue that had Ohio State not lost, might have cracked this 4.
I mean, they wouldn't have been in the Big Ten championship still, so. I don't think they
still would have been out of the Big Ten title game.
But there is precedent though for that though. Alabama didn't play SEC title game a couple of years ago, and they still got into number 4.
Well, that's Alabama.
I was going to say that's
it's Alabama.
That's God's conference, EJ.
Hey, it's not the same circumstances.
No. What I'm saying is that Alabama didn't play a conference championship game and still got into the playoff.
So you're saying Ohio State would have gotten in over Cincinnati.
Because those schools get more respect than anybody else. They'll get a longer leash. So, they'll make conference championship, but you know what? They might still get in depending on how things fall out. And Alabama, I think 2017, 2018 got in that way.
Because other teams didn't take care of business. If you're going to talk that stuff, you got to be intellectually honest about it. Unlike Kirk Herbstreit, who's trying to claim that the process is fair because Cincinnati got in. I had to take that shot. I'm sorry.
And things did kind of happen this weekend that, Oklahoma State won their game against Baylor. Correct. On the goal line, maybe they could have crashed the party, and Notre Dame had a case too. But so, like I said, if Ohio State only had one loss, I'm not saying Cincinnati would not gotten in, but
I don't think Ohio State would have had a case over Cincinnati when they got their doors blown off.
No, I agree. You should have gotten in anyway, but the committee loves certain schools. There's certain schools they love. Ohio State's one of those schools. They love Alabama, they love Clemson, and they fucking sure love Ohio State. You know this.
He's not wrong. I'll give him that much credit. There's consistency.
They are up there on the committee's list for sure. So, do you think if Oklahoma State had beat Baylor, then they're in over Cincinnati?
I say no. I think they would. I think common sense would have. I would have common sense would have shown through. This is also why Kirk Herbstreit's tweet was kind of annoying because,
I'll bring that up here in a second. Andrew says Ohio State already made the playoff without playing in the Big Ten title game. Andrew, I know you don't want to hear this, but that's because despite losing to Penn State, Ohio State was still the better team. And head to head, yes, head to head is important to a degree, but it's not a be all end all argument, and that's why earlier this year put Michigan above Michigan State despite losing to them. Michigan was a better team. There's times that a team loses to a worse team, and you can. It's okay to evaluate that way, and it's okay to admit that. Ohio State should have been above Oregon probably at points this year. Oregon eventually played themselves out like we knew they were going to. So it does, it doesn't matter.
But they are who we thought they were.
Head to head isn't the only argument.
It's certainly not the primary argument.
But it should be way heavier if we're talking about inches here. That's the only argument I will say.
Well, it did weigh heavier it weighed enough to keep Cincinnati in, obviously.
Yeah, I was about to say, who's number 4? Who's number 5? Because head to head.
Right.
And I think that the teams were close enough because Notre Dame didn't prove because their schedule didn't stack up the way it should have. The way it could have in previous years. So they didn't have other wins to say, okay, this was just a bad loss. This was just a bad Saturday in October. Notre Dame didn't have the if Notre Dame if they had 3 top 15 wins or something like that, then that conversation probably gets a lot more creative when it comes to the committee. But they didn't have it. And Cincinnati did what they had to do in early October.
And last piece to answer Matt's very, very excellently poignantly asked question, I would have to look at the committee member list again to see if there's any bias in the voting that would make it happen. That's my answer.
So EJ brought up this. This is a tweet from Kirk Herbstreit earlier. He said, after 7 years of bitching and complaining from a vocal minority that the college football playoff system is rigged and the, quote, small guy will never get a chance. Haven't heard much from you the last couple days. Everything okay? What's the next conspiracy theory? Can't wait because that one is history.
Yeah, a bad take, though, man. I mean, come on, Kurt.
An awful take, but the thing that I find funny is the fact that you said to him that he's better than that.
He is. He is. Dude, by the way,
ever.
By the way, if the Miami Hurricanes turn things around the next year or two, credit to Kirk Herbstreit calling out the fucking school back in October.
Oh, stop.
Just saying.
Good hell, Ernest.
Something I've been saying for fucking years. I hate the Hurricanes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure you do, Rock fan. No, listen, here. Let me tell you.
Wow. Bitch.
Kirk Herbstreit did what a media man of his caliber is supposed to do.
Sure.
He got the hype going. One thing, I'm going to bring up 2018, me covering UCF for the second year, writing for Blue HQ, right? I had to let that Bing resonate because I didn't hear the first time.
Fucking Jim, bro, always, man.
During the bye week of UCF, when they were undefeated at the time for 2018,
right?
Kirk Herbstreit, Joel Klatt, and there was Paul Feinbaum all went on UCF-based rants on how they should not be complaining about their ranking because they were, however, 20-plus games consecutively. And I mean actually consecutively, Cincinnati fans. They didn't leave out a loss in a bowl game like you are against Georgia this past season. Throwing it out there. And all we heard from Herb Street was, what about San Diego State, Minot State, Fresno State? On UCF's bye week, Klatt put him in his little top 10 for the week and talked about that. Feinbaum, well, hey, listen, Feinbaum's been a fan of putting UCF in his rants and making them an enemy since they beat Auburn. It's kind of his thing. Why would they do that in UCF's off week, gentlemen? To stir that pot, because 71,000 students and one of the fastest expanding alumni base in the country moves that needle, baby. Well, it doesn't. Exactly.
They went straight red velvet. They went straight red velvet on that one.
Curb Street, when he went to the bounce house, suddenly, I'm converted. UCF's a great atmosphere. I like this school, blah, blah, blah. Cincinnati cracks it. Conspiracy theory. I'm a purist homer again. You've been duped, bitches. No, EJ, he is not better than that. What he is better at is being a media man that sucked you in to think so in the first place.
That means
That'll be all, Your Honor.
You mentioned Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt is one of the biggest college football provocateurs I think I've ever seen.
Joel Klatt can at least back his arguments to some extent with data and analytics, and I appreciate that as a data man for a living.
He's entertaining as shit, I'll tell you that much.
Hey, better than Bill Simmons.
Any other thoughts on the playoff rankings, the top six, the bowl match? I mean, early predictions. We'll get to them when the games get closer. But who do you think is your the finals matchup, and who do you think is your eventual national champion, Kyle?
National champion is America because they got a top four that even the committee couldn't screw up. Okay, that's my damn.
Amen.
At this juncture, it's hard for me. People can get pissed early on without doing more analysis and seeing not seeing some more things. It's hard for me to bet against Nick Saban at this point, right? This is like getting to the conference championship weekend in the NFL back in the early 2000s and seeing Belichick on there. Are you really going to bet against him? I'm not. So there you go.
All right. Who does Alabama play though?
Who do they play? Not Cincy.
I mean, they'll beat Cincy in the semifinal.
In the interest of leading to a better weekend for our primary host, I will say that Michigan beats a mentally distraught Georgia team that can't imagine what they had done in the semifinal, and Alabama will face Michigan once again in the rematch from the 2019 season Super Bowl.
All right.
Boom.
EJ.
I hope it's Michigan.
Or not Super Bowl, Citrus Bowl.
But I don't see it happening. I mean, can you bet against Bama at this point, though? I mean, was there anything in that game on Saturday in the SEC title game that led you to believe that Georgia can find things to bounce back in if they play?
No.
Because I can't find it.
God, no.
I can't find anything. Any motivation. I can't find anything there. So Bama, I mean, look, God bless Cincinnati. I'm glad they're in the 4, but this is where the party ends, man. I mean, Nick Saban is still Nick Saban, and they'll find ways to figure that out. The Georgia-Michigan thing is more interesting, though. Will there be residue coming out of this loss for Georgia? How bad? Because Georgia, I mean, we've seen Georgia all year long be this, not just this great team, they've been dominant up to this point. Can they just turn it back on 4 weeks later? That's what I want to see.
I mean, Michigan's a little better than Charleston State, but I guess we'll have to find out.
Michigan's trending better. Like if you ask me in a nutshell right now who should win this game, I probably say Georgia based on what I've seen all year long. But this is in a little like 2-week bubble. Both these teams are going in kind of opposite directions based on what we saw last time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's another month before they play, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
So can you turn back on? I mean, is that thing going to residue into New Year's weekend? You know what I mean? So first, I'm with Michigan the whole thing. Number one. Okay, let's be clear. But if you ask right now, I'm going to lean Georgia for the time being. Maybe I change my mind before kickoff, but I'm gonna lean Georgia right now. They've been a better team all year. So,
all right, Matt, how about you?
I think that the committee really wanted to set it up so we would see the Alabama-Georgia rematch in the finals, and that's what we will see.
Let me ask you this, Matt, just because I'm curious about your point of view on it. Do you feel like Georgia was more shooting themselves in the foot than Alabama was dominating? Because, I mean, there were turnovers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't impressed with the way Georgia played. I think that they just set this up the way they wanted it to be, and I'm never, ever going to pick Michigan to win a football game. So.
But
I did forget about
it
that
on the record. You did think they should be the number one team in the country. So
I did, yeah.
But there's that.
Virtual hug, Matt. I'm proud of you.
I think Michigan has a great chance. If they can play.
Who's their coach again?
Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, okay.
Khakis.
I'm sorry. We have a problem with Jim Harbaugh now?
No, he's great. Extended for 20 years.
Okay. I mean, see, here's as much as you Ohio people want to make this joke. Okay. Maybe Michigan's doing as well as they are and not a complete mess because he's there. Anybody thought of that? I'm just saying.
He's arguably the best Bears quarterback in the last 30 years. Just saying.
That's a pretty fucking.
That's a whole nother podcast.
We need to call up G. Steeler for that conversation.
We had it already.
Ben Brocklin.
We had it already.
Hey, Cutler. Yeah. Stop it. I know that's what he'd say, but stop it anyway.
Cutler boy.
Last thing, because EJ's silliness made me threw me off completely. What I was going to say.
You're
welcome. A complete month of preparation before the game's getting played. Who the best coaches is the factor. And what I've seen happen in the past, I'm going to lean in on the coach at point that I had because I'm going to remember it. Because despite EJ's best efforts to conjure GWSTWLIO, when they played in the Citrus Bowl 2 years ago, as I mentioned, there was no reason for that Michigan team to be in the game at halftime. And really, it wasn't broken up until the fourth quarter when Michigan finally was running out of tricks and smoke and mirrors that Harbaugh was putting on the field to keep it close. Time caught up with them, and they failed at that point. And Jim Harbaugh is the only reason that had happened. Okay. So, everyone keeps forgetting that before the COVID year, they were averaging 9.5 wins over 4 seasons. It's up there with, another program that constantly wanted a guy fired, and yet he was the only coach in history at the time that had 4 seasons of double-digit wins. Who was that again, Jim? I can never remember.
BK.
Thank you. Yes, it's Mr. BK. Brian Kelly.
Right.
EJ. You tool.
Southern Brian Kelly.
Okay, we're going to have this conversation about the coaches and the politics I thought we handled this last week.
We will get to the coach discussion. I think if Michigan plays the way they did against Ohio State and the way they did against Iowa, I think they absolutely can and will beat Georgia. Cincinnati's a great story. I would love for them to beat Alabama. We all know how I feel about Alabama. But, man, I just don't see how it's going to be close, unfortunately. And then we go from there. I will predict Michigan to win the title, but that's for my own safety.
Adorable.
Happy spouse, happy house.
That's right. So speaking of coaches, we were talking about Brian Kelly. We were talking about Jim Harbaugh. The coaching carousel.
How you doing, honey?
The whole coaching carousel in college football. A week ago, Kyle and I were on talking about what was the breaking news of the week, and that was Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU, Lincoln Riley to USC. Now Notre Dame has found their man, promoting defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman, retaining almost the entire staff at this point, so the continuity stays at Notre Dame. Brent Venables goes from defensive coordinator at Clemson to Oklahoma. Mario Cristobal goes from Oregon to Miami. The carousel continues to swing. Out of these hires, Freeman to Notre Dame, Venables to Oklahoma, Cristobal to Miami. Which one of these hires do you guys like the best? EJ, I'll start over with you.
Cristobal, the recruiting. He improves from Miami, which is something they really could use moving forward. Hometown guy. I will say for the record that I think, excited as people here down in this area about the hire, You gotta show me something at this point now. We've gone through Mark Richt, we've gone through all these hometown that should be you made a splash and then they just do nothing. But I do feel like this hire, I think there's something there. I think there's something there. Cristobal did actually a decent job at FIU at one point. So I say that this hire definitely has the potential of a higher ceiling. And given the fact that ACC sucks anyway, it's not that hard to make a splash either. The same way I was saying about Lincoln Riley 2 weeks ago about or whatever. How long was it on? I spoke about this. Lincoln Riley, that the bar is set lower to make a splash in the Pac-12. Same here with and the ACC. So I think the Cristobal hire is definitely the biggest one of this recent string hire.
Okay, Kyle.
Not to echo EJ, but I got Cristobal too, but it's more for a different reason. Now, I love that you mentioned, by the way, Lincoln Riley and USC is going to be interesting because the bar is so low there too. And basically USC is just going to show up a lot and get beat around like Oklahoma used to. And while Venables I always have trouble saying his name. I'm sorry. It's not going to matter because he's basically going to be losing a butt ton in the SEC. Not Vanderbilt butt ton, but a butt ton nonetheless.
Nobody loses like a Vanderbilt butt ton in the SEC.
A Vanderbilt butt ton, that's
that's a unit of measure in the SEC.
Yeah, exactly. That's a unit of measure. And here's a sample of how you use that unit of measure. EJ Christian is a fan of a Vanderbilt butt ton of teams. Anyways, so
what the fuck? What do I mean, seriously, what's that for?
Everybody. You do everybody. Have you seen your Facebook and who you cheer for? The only teams you don't cheer for are the Baltimore Ravens and the 49ers. And yet somehow you cheer for Jim Harbaugh earlier. I just can't understand this ish anymore. And the Chiefs. I forgot the Chiefs. I'm forgetting everybody. Josh,
I gotta go pee. Okay, I have to go pee in a second, so go ahead.
No, but long and the short, everything you said about Cristobal is awesome. What I love even more is that his hiring and all the buyout money and all the spending that's coming is what I find compelling. Some of us may want to erroneously credit Kirk Herbstreit with it, but whoever the inspiration is or not, the fact that Miami is putting their money where their mouths are as a program, and that Cristobal's hire is a part of that, is why I think it's the most compelling.
For the first time in 20 years, probably they've done this. So
yeah,
Matt, easy answer.
I mean, easy answer, sure. I do like the Cristobal hire, though. I think that was the smart move for them to make. So thank you, Kirk Herbstreit, for getting that program back on the map. I do understand why Venables would want to go to Oklahoma if it was 5 years ago, but knowing what we all know now and the direction that program is heading, I think that might be a short-lived career as soon as they enter the SEC. But we'll see. And it's unfortunate to read of the number of players decommitting from LSU recently, given the splash hire that the program made.
I just saw a tweet. It said, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. LSU recruits are decommitting faster than a Brian Kelly exit meeting.
Oh!
Wow.
Hi-oh!
They've lost their starting quarterback and his brother, their top ranked tight end, and their number one receiver. So
I'm not the best at math, but that doesn't seem great.
Addition by subtraction, maybe.
It doesn't seem great. And like I said it last week, I'll say it again. I will always love what Brian Kelly did for Notre Dame, but I'm not going to feel bad if LSU falls flat on its face.
Much as I love his Southern accent.
Yeah, I mean the Cristobal hire is great for Miami, and I think EJ, you had a great point. So congratulations for your first one.
One point. 1 point is here.
I didn't say that, EJ. As mean as I am to you.
That is a disgusting act.
It's so funny. I get shots taken everywhere I go. I go on this show, I get shots taken. I go on three count, I get shots there. I get fucking my own fucking shows, I get shots taken. I don't.
I mean, it feels like there's a common element there, but
Yeah, like, I don't get it. What is it about? Is it like a bullseye here? This little fucking round face, adorable face, the bullseye. I mean, I don't.
I guess like the good thing, so to speak, about Venables to Oklahoma is they're gonna have to play defense when they move to the SEC. So maybe that's the purpose for the hire, but probably not going to help him too much, at least while he's there. Anyhow, but I love the Marcus Freeman hire. I think to stabilize the Notre Dame program a week ago when it looked like, I mean, the floor was falling out of the program, and now to stabilize everything, retain the coaching staff, retain, pretty much. I think I've seen one decommit. And
they already visited him.
Yeah, that was before the Freeman hire. Like that was the day after Kelly left. That was the week ago today. So I am excited to see what Marcus Freeman can do.
So
yes,
Tim,
Scott.
I'm not doing this as a Notre Dame hate speech, so please be clear on that. But please be very careful sending that message to your fellow Irish faithful, okay? Because here's the thing. You're asking a 35-year-old guy to fill the gap of a dude who is said up front that Notre Dame is a tougher job, okay? This isn't a job that you should expect to keep for 20 years, is the precise quote. Mm-hmm. Here's what I don't like about the Freeman situation. We all had a fantastic moment. You heard me comment that moment should be in your intro because it is a great moment. However, the bar is set on being able to do that with all the things that are in your favor. Brian Kelly just made you look like a GD hero by offering you the coordinator job at LSU right by his right hand, and the program's like, nah, stay here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then the players, he does the fantastic move of addressing him the way they did. And he's doing what he can. And listen, the guy's a likable dude. I've seen him on 2 different interviews with Dan Patrick and Colin Cowherd. And and amongst those 2, some of you guys like one of those guys. Okay. So all I'm saying is this. Let's make sure, and I'm not worried about Jim or Matt in particular in this. Like I said, I cited the Irish faithful, not you guys in particular.
Sure.
Despite your nuttiness on your Twitter account, you can be a reasonable fan on occasion, even though you still won't submit that the 2017 UCF team would beat Notre Dame that year, and it's not close. Triple overtime and pick. So that
was 2012. I mean, if we're going to get years,
I know, but I feel like I was compelled to make that reference to while I was here. I mean, it's like EJ saying something about
jackass.
It'd be like, EJ making a comment about penetrating the backfield and me not saying that's what she said. It would be disappointing for everybody. Okay. So I say all the above to say, thank you.
That Kanye gift, like that's yeah.
All of the above being said, can we please manage our expectations a little bit? Okay. I expect them to do well. Maybe they'll get another double-digit win season again for the first time by a coach in a while, not named Brian Kelly. Okay, that could happen. Let's be careful. Just.
I mean, I'm not saying the guy's going to win a national championship next year.
But there's too many Irish fans that are.
I don't know that they necessarily believe that. I mean, that's
being excited after what could have been a program crippling move.
By all accounts, he was the top recruiter in the program last season. So I think that that's mainly the excitement levels because now you're going to see that at a larger stage in terms of the coaching staff that he's going to put together. Let's set the bar. I typically set the bar every season at 8-4. Let's see what the rosters look like next year, but that's a good season for me.
See, now, again, didn't cite you or Jim, but that is what we refer to as a reasonable expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, our local AJ Hawk, Mr. Matt here, has told you how to set a reasonable expectation, and I'm pointing the wrong way because I did.
I dare you. Hey, I dare you. I dare you pronounce his last name though.
I haven't ever seen his last name, so that's the problem. I'm sorry, Matt, dude. I haven't.
Right.
But
I know how to do it.
You want to give it a try, EJ?
No, I want Calgary to try.
He's never seen the name.
The damn thing.
It's Buleisen, right?
No.
No. Buleisen.
Mealeisen.
Mealeisen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mealeisen.
First time I tried to say it, I got it right. Let the record show that, EJ Christian.
You back off. Never mind. I'm not gonna go with you.
You know, we've talked about issues with preseason top 25 rankings over the course of the show.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be an interesting look to see the preseason top 25 versus the college football playoff top 25 that came out this past weekend. Now, 12 teams that were ranked in the preseason are currently still ranked. Of the preseason top 10, there are, I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still in the top 10.
Yeah.
That being, of course, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. But I think it's wild to see. I mean, it's no surprise that if you're set up from the onset for success, it is harder for you to get knocked out. If you are not set up for success from the beginning of the season, it is much more difficult for you to make that climb. Yeah, I mean, your preseason top 10 was Alabama, Oklahoma, Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, North Carolina. The top 10, of course, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Baylor, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, and Michigan State. So five of your top 10 teams currently were not ranked to start the year. So it's an interesting look. And to me, I think that's what I think the stat that they gave over the weekend after the Michigan win was like a 0.2% chance of making the playoff from starting the year unranked. But when you see Clemson, I mean, Clemson started 3, they're down to 19 now. I just thought it was an interesting comparison. Any thoughts to the continued?
That seems high for Clemson.
I thought so too. I mean, 9-3 in a terrible ACC. I don't think should keep you in the top 25. But maybe I just hate Clemson.
They must know something we don't,
or they just suck. And the ACC has had bias in their favor on the committee for some time now, gentlemen. If I may be so bold as to speak to our prowess compared to the committees, I'm going to go through the teams that we called out looking at the preseason being an entire crock, a Vanderbilt butt ton of a crock that we had called out.
This is the thing now, isn't it?
What's that?
This is going to be a thing now going forward, isn't it?
Sure is.
Totally your fault, too. Congratulations. So we said Iowa State had no business where it belonged. I at least said North Carolina had no business where they belonged. We used the term Wisconsin's going to Wisconsin on this situation and in this particular piece.
I think what's wild is the almost the entire 10 to 20 is no longer in the top 25. So
we predicted a lot
right,
of these.
like North Carolina,
USC.
North Carolina, Oregon, Wisconsin, Florida, Miami, USC, LSU, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State, Washington. The only ones that are still ranked are Oregon and Iowa. They are 14 and 15, and that's probably too high.
Coastal Carolina was a fun story, wasn't it?
That was fun.
We all said that was going to drop.
So
We said
adorable.
that Texas was going to
So
drop.
adorable, wasn't it?
We said Michigan was going to, or excuse me, Washington was going to drop. We called most of these.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they get it right?
I think what's funny though, a lot of these schools, there's a lot of legacy schools here too that that would they were positioned nice to make a run had they did their job. This Florida, Miami, USC, LSU. I mean,
very interesting.
It's funny how that shit works.
Like it's intentional.
It's amazing, and what a year! But
here's the thing: I'm almost willing to bet that Florida, with a new head coach, will be in a preseason top 20
Miami
next year. Miami
Florida
will
was
be
a
in a
surprise.
preseason. USC will be in a preseason top 25 next year. LSU will be in a preseason top 25.
You know who won't?
Year.
You know who won't?
State will not be in a preseason top 25 next year.
You know who won't though?
Florida State.
There we go.
You're damn right.
I'm not gonna take a
But
low.
at least they beat Miami though. So.
Well, I mean that's a storied rivalry too.
It's my favorite rivalry.
Did you just no? Did you just drop the story of rival? I saw what you did there, Matt. You ain't smooth.
It's my favorite rivalry all sports.
Trying to win the game.
Was that rivalry shown on ACC Network this year, or did they get onto like an actual network?
Hulu Plus, I think it was on.
They surprised ABC at 3:30. I'm surprised.
Wow, look at that.
Was it a frisky game, EJ?
Was any other college football game on in that 3:30 hour?
No.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah.
No, I think Notre Dame was a night game that week because they always win.
Yeah.
Was Jacksonville State airing at that time?
Go fuck yourself. I deserve it though.
I deserve that. EJ, you're right. I deserve
yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
I deserve that. It's all good, bud.
Final thing inside of the college football world for this week. Heisman Trophy, among other awards being presented this week. Your four finalists are Bryce Young, quarterback Alabama; Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end. I feel like he flutters around. I forget exactly what position he plays. Michigan, Kenny Pickett, quarterback Pitt; CJ Stroud, quarterback Ohio State. Who do you guys think who's your Heisman Trophy winner, Matt? I mean, besides CJ Stroud, obviously.
Obviously. Man, I really don't want it to be Young, but I think that's going to be who it is. I would love to see, a defender finally do this, but it's not going to happen.
EJ?
There's a Heisman race going on?
It has kind of felt that way, right?
It's like the first year, really. I mean, it's been kind of downtrending the last couple of years anyway. But like, there's a Heisman race. Like, no one really, unless I was not paying attention to what's going on, no one's talking about this shit. No one.
I feel like it's
I mean, they mention it all the time. If you are unfortunate enough to have to watch a Pitt game,
right,
and you'll hear about Heisman candidate Pickett nonstop.
ACC.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be Bryce, right? I mean, I don't see him. I mean, after what happened this past recency bias, of course, how can you go against them at this point? So whatever.
I mean, he led them back against that tough Auburn team too. You can't discount that.
We got that one too. Yeah, Iron Bowl.
Kyle.
Holy hell, I'm in Florida and I need all this shade for tomorrow when the sun comes back up despite the winter. Jesus. Anyways, listen, we all know it's not going to happen. Ever since the days Ndamukong Suh was screwed out of the Heisman Trophy from single-handedly winning a ball game and other games for the matter as a defensive tackle. And what was that?
Don't talk shit to Sam Bradford. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Too late. And that's over and above being a Niners fan. My one team I tend to root for. Anyways, so the fact that Ndamukong Suh didn't win a Heisman Trophy as a defensive lineman at Nebraska is proof that it won't happen for the gentleman from Michigan this year. That's who I would give it to, especially for how important this defensive line has been to the success of Michigan. and doing what Michigan hadn't done in years. And I don't mean just beating Ohio State, by the way. I mean, the playoff. But at the end of the day, ironically, as I prop up a blue, I think it's Ohio State's quarterback that is going to win it.
You think Stroud's going to actually?
Really?
I do think Stroud's going to win it. Because I mean, Alabama's known for defense and running, and I have that much faith in humanity that they can see through what Alabama is. They're not that passing team. It's not.
That makes one of us.
What's that?
That makes one of us. I don't see it, dude.
Again, too much faith in humanity. It's okay. Listen, I forgot there was a race just like you going on. I'm pulling this from the hip. Okay.
What do you take out for the hip, son? From the hip, son.
From the hip, son. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, look. Kenny Pickett, that's adorable. You have the most touchdown passes at Pitt. Good for you.
Can I change my vote to anybody except him? Can we do that?
You can do that.
I'm going to do that.
He beat what? Marino's record? Did Marino have it?
Good for him.
He had that fake slide in the championship.
100%. That rule is there's going to be a rule.
That will be addressed. Well, I don't know though. It happened against Wake Forest, so who really gives a shit? Like if they did that against like a team that like people watch consistently, then people would be like, I can't do that. But since it's Wake, people are gonna be like, shut up, Demon Deacons. Nobody cares.
It's not basketball. Shut your Wake Forest.
Yeah, I think that rule will probably change. It's not Pickett's award. I don't think it's Stroud's award. I mean, when another Heisman candidate shuts down your offense basically in its entirety in its final game of the year, I think that probably takes you out of the race. So I think it's a two-man race here, and I think it's Bryce Young and Aiden Hutchinson. Unfortunately, for a lot of the reasons Kyle said, it's not going to be a defender, even if it should be.
They love their quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not. Somehow the award for the best player in college football has become like the best quarterback or running back for the best team in college football, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. So it will likely be Bryce Young. I think it should be Aiden Hutchinson.
Well, you know what? I'm just thankful they don't make that mistake with the NFL MVP award.
Yeah, it's like here, and really the way I look at it is I don't think Michigan gets here without Aiden Hutchinson. I think Alabama could still get here without Bryce Young.
Indubitably so.
You know what I mean? So to me, that's what makes it, that's what makes it easy for me to pick. But unfortunately, I don't get a vote for that.
Oh, that's why that's your pick, huh?
You should get a vote for it more than some other people. Hashtag Paul Feinbaum.
Anyway.
All right, let's go to the NFL, where you would think at some point, as we're approaching near the end of this season, the playoff picture would begin to become a little bit clearer. His vote is for Hutchinson as well.
Amen.
But yes,
playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
You have it.
Playoffs.
The picture is not getting any clearer. It's in some ways it's probably getting even more clustered.
I don't know, Jim. You say that, but EJ's top 10 has been pretty consistent these last couple of weeks.
Now, is that his top 10 favorite teams or his power rankings?
I mean, they're one and the same, are they not?
I didn't say it.
Where are the Seahawks on this list?
Who?
The Seahawks. Sea chickens.
So currently in the AFC, your division leaders: New England, Tennessee, Baltimore, Kansas City. Your wild card teams: the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Bills. In the NFC, you have the Cardinals, Packers, Buccaneers, Cowboys as your division leaders. Your wild card teams are the Rams, the football team, and the 49ers. And I would run through the teams that are still in the bubble, but this is only hour and
everyone.
2 hours. No, it's everyone except for Houston, right? Like
Houston and the Lions have been eliminated. Everyone else
Houston
is still
Houston
alive.
is the only eliminated team
Somehow
in the National
NBA
Football
East
League.
is still
Detroit has a
eligible.
chance still. Detroit has a chance still.
The Jaguars still have a chance.
That's true because of that tie. They can still find their way in.
Campbell Nation, baby.
The
Man
1-10-1
Campbell.
Detroit Lions not eliminated mathematically yet, but
How has Campbell's Soup not jumped on this yet?
right? Insane. It is absolutely
What a
insane.
chance.
But you know, again, week to week, and I don't know if is this where we want to, because I don't even know. Like, we have to talk about the NFL, but like, besides things, is this where we talk about EJ's top 10 and
Well,
bottom five?
we can do it in a second. Let me just say this one. The only thing we can see right now, okay, so I said this a couple weeks ago on the show, and it still bears true in the NFC. There's definitely a tier. There's definitely a tier in the NFC. There's a 3-team tier right now between Green Bay, Arizona, and Tampa. Tier 1. Then you have, of course, Dallas and everybody else in the middle, Rams, all that. The AFC for the last 5-6 weeks has been a clusterfuck. You know, who's now you're starting to see a little bit of some separation, not a lot. Patriots big win last night, best now the number 1 seed in the AFC. Of course, that's not defined, but you're seeing a couple of teams starting to separate a little bit, but you can't really for sure put your finger on it. Kansas City Chiefs also, but again, they've been so wonky the last 5 weeks too. Also, even these wins that you can't necessarily pencil them into being the contender, the number 1 team in that conference. But so you at least have something going on. A lot of the shit going on right now is in the middle down, all the way down. Everything from like 3-4 down in both conferences. Well, okay, when the NFC is 4 down, but in the AFC it's definitely 2-3 down. It's a mess. It's a fun mess. All of a sudden you got the Miami Dolphins are a game behind in the wins column behind for the 7 seed. I don't know where. So it's a lot. No, but I'm not making a case. I'm just saying what's happening here. There's a lot going on.
That was less for you, Ernest. Now, granted, you have to remember that you do pose as a Dolphins fan on occasion.
Oh, I don't know. I pose a Dolphins fan every single game once every 4 years.
No, again, they play the Patriots twice. I keep having to correct
you
on this.
Shut up.
You must have been really conflicted during the Miami Miracle a few years back. Anyways, okay, that would even make
my boys, my boys showed out last night in the fucking Orchard Park. Just saying.
There you go.
You need to be careful about calling. First of all, the first thing out the gate, we need to be careful calling the Patriots win a big win. I know, again, it's your team. You should be excited about that. Beating the Bills is a big effing deal, in the words of Joe Biden. But the other pieces you have to remember, you're not always going to have a northeastern crosswind to bail you out. Now, considering that the Bills play in the former Ralph Wilson Stadium, okay, that could be an issue again. You never know. But let's not go out there and act like that's an expectation you can make. All that does is set the table to do is being neutralized further by a better team when, that comes to pass. Not guaranteed, obviously, but let's not forget crosswinds and a complete and total lack of running prowess by the Bills offense just being an issue, right?
Real quick, Kyle. Funny stat I found out today on my podcast that you find out tomorrow. The Pats are 7-0 in the AFC. Against the AFC this year.
Mm-hmm. And whom else have they played in the AFC worth note?
Chargers, Bills now. What else there? Who else they play?
I meant who else besides the Bills, right?
Titans.
No, the Titans do not.
No.
The Bills count as of note at this point.
No, I'm not saying that you asked me to play.
I mean, they're in his top 10.
I mean,
I think they should be at 10 personally. That's not you die on the wrong hill, because there's a hill he dies on that's even more wrong. You know what I'm talking about, Matt. One might even say it's the chief hill that he dies on. Anyways,
I think there's a few bad hills, but we'll get there.
But let's be careful with calling that a big win. But that being said, you and I said it last year, Ernest Christian, that the Patriots were a case of COVID away from doing this last year. Just saying. Or breakout of COVID, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the Patriots, not only because they're sitting atop they look the best right now in the AFC. Like I will agree with EJ on that one. Like they look the best. They've run. They haven't lost since the Cowboys game.
But there is a much separation, though. There's a much separation right now between the Patriots and anybody else in the AFC. That's my whole point. It's still a cluster. There's still a cluster there.
Yeah, and I don't know about look the best. Their quarterback completed 2 of 3 passes, so that's good.
That was also by design, though. Belichick made it very clear.
Right. Yes, I'm aware that's by design. But let's keep in mind, 63-yard run and another 20-something yard run, and all of a sudden, that's a very even more pedestrian offense.
Buffalo should have won that game last night. End of discussion. And that
I'm not going to go that far because the defense deserves an ass ton of credit.
Absolutely.
Okay? But a Vanderbilt butt ton of credit. Okay.
But that loss is huge to Buffalo. But that's a big loss to Buffalo to win from the Patriots because Buffalo now 7-5, lose that AFC East now probably out of reach, could be, and then they go to Tampa this week.
Yeah,
combo, dude. Things aren't getting better for Buffalo.
Right, that's correct. Now that you were 100% right.
And that's a bad combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bad combo.
Brady and Belichick back to back. Woo!
Ouch. But yeah, I mean, I will agree with you there in the NFC. You know, I think the NFC, especially at the top, is much clearer than the AFC.
Really quick, my wrestling guys in the room. Did anybody notice the Ric Flair woo being in there with Belichick and Brady? Did anybody catch that?
I did. I caught that. I'm proud of it.
Okay. Just making sure that everybody that knew that was a Ric Flair woo, there was a purpose to that.
Yes, thank you. I'm proud of it.
Good job, buddy.
Matt's like, why did you do that, fat man?
So because I feel like there's besides just kind of the things we've been talking before we get to the pick'ems for this week. Is let's because we've been dancing around EJ's top 10 bottom.
You want to do it now? You want to do it now?
So let's just
he's got it on the damn ticket.
Let's attack this. So EJ
manipulate here a little bit.
So EJ, let's start with your bottom 5.
Okay, well, I mean,
with the bottom 5. So your bottom 5 is the Giants, Jets, Jaguars, Lions, Texans.
The only team I could argue say that could be in that bottom 5 besides these 5 are probably the Bears. That's it.
Oh, coming right out.
Jim's Bears, by the way.
I'm glad you're smart enough to take Russell Wilson out of it. That was a little cruel.
Well, I mean, they bounced back this week and back to business again.
Or you could have just had a bad take. That's possible. Anyways, what? But no, your bottom 5 are totally correct this week. I'm 100% with you.
Okay, so I'm surprised so far. This has been up now for about 12 hours now. No one's giving me shit about the Colts because the Colts right now technically.
I said it on the pre-show that they
Colts, technically, if the playoffs started, they're not in. But I am projecting that they're going to continue winning and going to continue and it'll get in playoffs. I have the most confidence of all the teams that kerfuffle right now between 5 and 12. Really, the Colts probably one of the 2 or 3 teams I have most confidence in completing the deal.
Chief, no one's griping with the Colts because that's not the team you have on there that's completely bleeping wrong.
Okay.
Charlie.
Okay.
And I assume you're saying the Colts are getting in because they're going to catch the Titans.
Yeah. Well, no. They could get the wild card too, but I think the odds of getting the Titans now are actually a lot harder to realize. They're only a game behind in the win-loss talk.
Right. And the Titans are doing what we thought they were going to do.
No, we thought we were. Just saying.
Precisely as I predicted it in the preseason when I wrote the article in September for the 3-point conversion, that they would actually trend worse a little bit later in the year due to their schedule. Thank you, Jim.
I think Go ahead. And
I believe I said they would finish with 11 wins.
Yeah, I think you did say that actually.
So,
yeah, you're on pace, buddy. But where's the issue here? Because I know a lot. I put on social media. A lot of people said one person said the Pats have been number 1, number 2. I'm like, slow up, buddy.
So on the for the podcast listeners, you have 1 to 10. You have Cardinals, Packers, Bucks, Patriots, Chiefs, Rams, Ravens, Cowboys, Bills, and Colts.
And for those that didn't necessarily catch it, that's EJ Christian having the Chiefs in the top 5 in the entire NFL.
Again, kerfuffle. Who do you move the Chiefs? Okay, so your problem is the Chiefs right now, right? Number 5.
That's my biggest problem, yeah.
Who should be ahead of the Chiefs right now on this list?
See, I knew he was going to ask that question coming right out the gate. Okay.
No, because when I asked about other teams that had problems with other teams on the list, they can't answer the fucking question. So one of my friends,
I did answer the question on Facebook, by the way, in my comments.
You always do. Everybody else, okay? Ravens gone. Who places the Ravens?
Yeah, and what you do in response is sick, but somebody who doesn't know anything about football on me as if he's going to respond well. Good job, Chief. Anyways,
I was trying to stir the pot, like Red Velvet.
Listen, one doesn't stir the pot by pulling their pants down and dropping a turd in it. Okay. Anyways,
Look,
I got Jim on that one.
Goofy.
Well, anyways, I'm still
If you did rankings, what would you do?
Okay, so first of all, the Bengals not in the top 10, you're out of your goddamn mind. Anybody who's in contention for the best division in the AFC, and they're no. Okay, stop
They were
it.
number 10 last week.
And they should still be on the top 10. I
You
don't care
remember
what
my
you
podcast last week? We were doing locks, and you said, and I said locks. The Bengals will lock. You said yes. And I said if they beat the Chargers this week, they'll be a lock. Did they beat the Chargers this week?
They didn't beat the Chargers this
That's
week
all.
because
Case
there are
closed.
conditions. No, that is not case closed. Go join this college football playoff committee, Chief. We do business correctly here. We consider all factors, okay? And the fact that Joe Burrow with a broken finger still nearly beat them. And a Joe Mixon fumble, I might add. Where's he been? I'm supposed to be worshiping him as an MVP candidate. That ain't happening. I tried to tell you people. Well, I didn't say it publicly, so it doesn't count. But I never felt Joe Mixon as an MVP candidate was even wise. Okay? So, the starting quarterback breaks his finger and still nearly beats you. Like, if his hand is healthy, we all agree the Chargers lose that game, right? Exactly. Now, your best actual argument, EJ, is, well, I want to see how his health goes and see if his hand stays healthy, and then I'll decide next week. But you didn't say that. You gave me some college football playoff BS answer. Listen, go become the AD at Iowa if you want to drop that. I want you to be a better man, sir.
Okay.
Anyways, no, but I would have the Bengals higher. Okay, the Chiefs at the top 5 is I can't. I just can't with you.
Okay, let's start 1 to 5. Does anybody object to the Cardinals at number 1?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't.
Packers at number 2.
It's fine.
Okay. Buccaneers at 3.
Too high.
Okay.
I'm okay with the Buccaneers at 3, but if people had them at 4 or 5, I don't think I would necessarily argue it.
So Kyle, who would you have at number 3?
I would have at number 3. I could make a better argument for the Ravens. I'm not going to say the Bengals. That's stupid. The Rams are in a downturn. I wouldn't put them at 3, though. I still feel like the Pats are high. I'll give them credit coming off of a big win. They should definitely be 3. The Bucs are a kickoff return away from losing to the Colts. If they're not, they need to be at 5.
Okay.
I don't know how you have the Ravens that high. They are a miracle field goal away from losing to the Lions.
You mean Ravens high for me or Kyle?
Kyle.
Okay.
They're also a fingertip away from winning the biggest rivalry in NFL football.
But they also lost to the Dolphins.
Okay.
Yeah, and dude, like I was looking at
the Bengals also have a loss to the Jets. You haven't said a word about that when I bring up the Bengals. Okay.
I wouldn't have the Bengals in the top 10.
And what's if we're going to go there? What are the Bucs doing that's actually that impressive other than underperforming? They're coasting in a garbage ass division and showing me nothing week in and week out.
Right. I mean, that's the Tom Brady factor, though. He takes it easy until he doesn't need to anymore.
That's adorable. Tom Brady is not the reason this team is winning, so stop citing them. And
I'm not saying that it is.
You know, and that was more for the
leave me alone, buddy.
I know you're not that guy. Sometimes I have to say that because I can't argue with the talking heads at ESPN. They don't.
Careful talking about Tom Brady. EJ gets emotional.
Yeah, I know. But listen,
boy, leave Tommy alone, man in the arena.
Like
it's the title of a show.
I know.
I'm finding out it has nothing to do with him.
I'm promoting it. I'm promoting it
Belichick just won a game with a quarterback that throws 2 passes.
I'm promoting him for the show for him. ESPN.
I like the Ravens, and I think if they can
level, barely beat the Bears too. Like they haven't looked great these last few weeks.
Lamar playing a game. Lamar.
When you look at their last 6 games, they lost to they got their asses kicked by the Bengals. Then they had their bye week. They barely beat the Vikings. They lose to the Dolphins. They struggled to beat the Bears and the Browns, and then they lose to the Steelers. And I understand that they're a Mark Andrews should have had a catch away from beating the Steelers. And yes,
in the best rivalry in the NFL, we've already forgotten that rivalry games are interesting.
No,
right?
We don't. Kyle.
Yeah, I mean that's on par with Miami, Florida State.
No. People tune into this rivalry. That's not fair.
Here's the thing, though. Ultimately,
win the game.
Here's the thing. Ultimately, though, really, here's the top 10 here. If there are teams that shouldn't be in this top 10, who is missing? To me, there are really only 2 teams outside of top 10 that's not here that you can consider. Maybe 3: the Chargers, the Bengals, and I think that's it. The Steelers, maybe? No.
I
mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm still putting the Titans above the Colts
for
now.
Your third team, and guess what? You just corrected yourself better than you made your top 10.
I would bump the Colts out in favor of the Bengals. Like, I think the Bengals are better than the Titans or the Colts. To me.
Okay. Colts also have the Patriots and the Cardinals their next 2. So
we're gonna find out real quick if the Colts are gonna hang around in any discussion.
Yeah, I mean, you leave the Colts in here because they have an opportunity to impress the bejesus out of you. Taking the Colts out is a mistake to me. The Chiefs and the Cowboys in this top 10, you're out of your damn mind.
Dallas too high?
Dallas is too high. Dallas is not in the top 10.
Wow. So take out Dallas. Okay, so what you would do is you take out Dallas. You take out who else? You take out the Dallas
Chiefs.
Cowboys. But Chiefs are not top 10 either?
At all.
So you tell me the Chargers should be ahead of the Chiefs right now in the top 10?
I didn't say. Yeah, they're trending better. Big win against a team that's competing for the conference championship.
I don't know how you say trending better when a team was 1-5 in a row. Granted, not very pretty, but 1-5 in a row.
Not very pretty needs to be held against them if you're going to give me this bullshit about the Ravens then. You can't have it both ways, Christian.
Baltimore's been on top 10 the entire. There are people who said they should be in the top 10 to begin with. They're not my top 10.
This is called deflection. I just had to listen to stuff from you and Matt about close wins by Baltimore, but the Chiefs, it's okay. They have close wins.
No, they have a terrible close win against the awful Giants.
Yeah. I'm not making a case that they playing great, but they are 8-4. They're still a half game behind for the number 1 AFC. So again, it's not just it's complicated because this season's been really weird. There's been no separation in the AFC.
I think one of the problems with you and the Chiefs at 5 is you've had them ranked too high for multiple weeks.
I think you're just trying to justify the Chiefs are back tweet from a couple weeks ago.
You tried to justify when you said when they were at 10 and you said if they lose, we're going to drop them out. And then they lost and you had to make a justification to keep them in.
Well,
and then now you said the Chiefs are back and they're still struggling to win, and you're overcorrecting, EJ.
I don't know if I call 22-9 against the divisional opponent struggling to win, but I mean they didn't look pretty in the offense. But it's just weird because the Chiefs now their offense is playing like shit, but the defense is playing great. I don't fucking get it. They are hard to understand. I don't fucking get it.
And I mean, and their defense. I won't deny that their defense has looked great over their 5 straight wins, but I also look at the teams they've played over their 5 straight wins. So, again, you can only play the games as scheduled, and I get that. And this year has been extremely strange. I would have the Chiefs probably in my top 10. I would not have them in my top 5, though. I think that's crazy.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let me add this to that statement of you can only play the games that's scheduled. That's true. But you don't punish teams with a harder schedule. You give them a bonus if they succeed. That's how that should happen.
And not only that, too, also the number 6, 7, 8, and 9 on this list right now, recently, the Dallas Cowboys turned it around last week, but they've all been trending downward last month. 6, 7, 8, 9 all been trending downward last month or so. Rams, maybe Cowboys, and Bills.
I didn't say I love where the Rams are at either, but I don't think the Cowboys should be in the top 10.
The thing, though, someone has to be somewhere, and no one can be able to put.
I give you answers and you spin around. Like I'm definitive in my back with facts, and you're like, oh well, this with the thing. I'm like, bro,
You have you have Baltimore high, which I understand, but that's also your Super Bowl pick and being biased. I
Come off of Baltimore for a minute, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is this: I'm doing my best Iowa athletic director / CFB committee impression. By the way, forget about the Ravens argument. Take them out of the top 10 if you want. I don't give a shit. What I'm trying to Putin doesn't give a shit. What I am trying to say is this: there are 3 teams that I have that should be there: Titans, Bengals. Actually, you listed them. What were they again?
Bengals and Chargers, right?
Okay. And 2 of those 3 need to replace the Chiefs and Cowboys in my mind. And I've made a case for 2 of them pretty compelling in my ever so humble opinion.
I couldn't do that. The Cowboys should be there still.
Okay. If you insist on being incorrect, it's your top 10. And that, God bless it, this country defends that ability for you to do that.
That's true. Thank you. Solution.
Anything. I mean, it's going to continue to get wilder before the picture becomes clear.
And I love it.
You picked a horrible week to run out of popcorn, boss.
I love it. And you know what, Jim? I hope there's more confusion in week 14 and week 15 and week 16.
Well, Kyle, I'm
this is all
fat.
fun. This is
I
fun.
don't know what you want me to say.
This is all fun.
I'm praising you, not talking trash on you.
Oh, I know, but that's why the popcorn's going because.
Gotcha. Okay, well,
because of that. Let's look at week 14 in the National Football League. Last week of buys this week: Colts, Dolphins, Eagles, and Patriots. If your fantasy football league did not adjust to an 18-week season and somehow you start playoffs this week, I feel bad for you because there's probably some leagues out there that are starting playoffs when they're still bye weeks, and that's a crime. But 4 games that I'm looking at in the NFL this week will start Thursday night, 8:20 Eastern time on Fox and the NFL Network. The 6-5-1 Steelers at the 5-7 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is a 3-point home favorite. 44.5 is your over/under on this one. Matt, we'll start with you.
I'll take the Steelers with the points, and I will take the over.
Ooh.
All right. EJ.
Give me under this one. And I don't know. Minnesota, devastating loss last week against Detroit. This could be the end of Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. This is tough, man. I like the under definitely in this game. I'll take the home team for now.
Ooh.
I've run my mouth a lot tonight. I'll be the short one here. Jim, can you guess what the first statistic was that I looked at before I gave my answer to know what my answer is?
That would be whether the game is in prime time or not.
Correct. Since it is, I've got the Steelers, especially with the points, but they will win outright. I also am going to go with the over based on points off of turnovers by way of TJ Watt somehow creating a situation where that defense either scores or allows Ben Roethlisberger to fall his big butt forward and score.
Yeah, Andrew's a Minnesota fan. At least you have the Braves, Andrew.
You got as much you want to fire him right now. You got to play it out because if Minnesota hypothetically wins the rest of their games, I'm saying hypothetically wins the rest of their games, he would justify. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying though, you can't just fire him in part lock of like.
You certainly can.
And side note, Zimmer is not the problem. Anyways, next question.
Yeah.
But it's Kirk Cousins at night. Give me Pittsburgh easy in this one. But I'll take the under. Then we go to Sunday, 1:00 on Fox. The 8-4 Dallas Cowboys are a 4-point road favorite at the Washington the 6-6 Washington football team. 48.5 is your over under on this one. Kyle, we'll start with you.
You know, the Batman analogy is still definitely holding for the Cowboys in that he still has yet to beat a Joker, and still to this day, getting his back broken in the first week against Bane is still their best game. Nonetheless, I have the Cowboys over the WTF, the Washington team of football. What do you think I meant? I'm going to go ahead and go with the over. I think Dakota and company kind of turned around a bit, put some points up on this group whose secondary is a big problem. Chase Young is currently still hurt, as I understand it. I have no reason to believe that defense will do anything against this group, and the Cowboys can have a tune-up game and win you some cash.
You go, EJ.
Heineke Mania, brother.
You must be drunk to think that. Anyways.
Right.
Wow. I'll give me the over this game. And you know what? Dallas was one of my 44 teams I root for, so give me the Cowboys to cover too.
All right, Matt.
As much as it would benefit the Eagles for the Cowboys to win this game, I think I made the statement that I would never pick them to win, so I have to hold true to that because I don't go against my word on Huddle Up Podcast. Maybe on 3 count, but not here. So
your nobility to this production, sir.
I will take the WFT and I will take the over.
What a hater.
Go fuck yourself.
I am obviously taking my Cowboys.
Oh, really? Are you?
Amari Cooper's dumbass is back, and hopefully his COVID lung is healed up. I think CeeDee Lamb is back and healthy. I think Mike McCarthy will be back on the sidelines this week. I've lost track of how many people are still out with COVID in the Cowboys organization, but yeah, I'm taking my Cowboys plus because I have to. And I think they do win this game. That they are beginning to get healthy.
You know you don't have to, right? You choose to do that. I picked the Dolphins to cover last week against the Giants.
EJ, unlike you, I don't have 47 teams in a 32-team league.
A Vanderbilt butt ton. Woo!
So it's easier for me to pick my team.
Hey, Jim, do you know who Danny Elfman is?
You, buddy.
Exactly.
Jim, do you know who Danny Elfman is?
I should, yes. But...
Okay, well, he's a musical composer that did the Simpsons theme, and I can't think of a better opportunity to refer to ourselves as such because I don't know another show that has a big white guy who's a homer as much as the Simpsons does.
I mean, fair
Matt's
enough.
Still trying to process. Did you really do that?
That was a long way to get there. But I enjoyed it.
And he uses Nelson. Touchdown.
But Dallas, and hopefully for my fantasy season, still clinging to life, I'll take the over because I need points. Then we go to Sunday 4:25 on CBS. It is the 6-6 49ers at the 7-5 Cincinnati Bengals, who are a 1-point home favorite. 47.5 is your over under on this one. Matt, we'll start with you.
It's in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
in Cincinnati.
Okay, then I will take the Bengals, but I will take the under on this one.
Okay, EJ.
I myself like the under as well, and I'll take the Bengals to bounce back.
Change my picks.
Well, here, I'll make you feel better.
That is a disgusting act.
I'll make you feel better or worse. I too agree with the under, and showing that I'm not going to need Danny Elfman. I have the Bengals actually winning this game. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it's a bounce back spot. 49ers are a team that had a bad loss, I thought, this past weekend. And if it was in Santa Clara, I would maybe lean the Niners a little bit more, but I think the Bengals at home, I think they'll be able to pick up the win. I will also go with the under on this one. And then finally, Monday night, 8:15 on ESPN, we have the 8-4 Los Angeles Rams at the 10-2 Arizona Cardinals, who are a 3-point home favorite. 52 is your over under. Kyle, we'll start with you.
So I find it interesting that the Cardinals are at home, but they're up 3. So they're saying this is an even match. This is ridiculous. I got the Cardinals.
That number, there's some weeks where I go, this number feels right.
I feel like the injury
this number does not feel right.
Is it possible also maybe they did play this weekend? Maybe there's still possibly they may play. Colin Murray may not play. I don't know. It is weird.
No, I don't think there was anything coming out of this weekend that would suggest that Murray.
Kyler Murray looked great, yeah.
And Murray Hopkins would not be healthy this week.
I'm trying to find narrative. That's all.
But yeah, and let's pretend they didn't have Kyler Murray. Anybody worried about Colt McCoy with what he did in his absence? Holy shite, folks. Okay. All of the above being said, I can't possess myself to put the Rams in a winning piece here. That doesn't mean they won't. I'm not here to say it's not a close game at all, but I certainly don't understand that number. So I'm going to that the math here, at the very least, I do think the Cardinals win the game, but hey, I've been wrong before it happens. I was right about the Cardinals being good this year, but no one wants to talk about that.
I am in the playoffs too. I told you that.
Hey, you copied my paper. I remember.
I know. We keep doing that over and over again. Yeah, I know. I get that.
This game
you keep bringing it up. He's got to keep hammering it down. You know what I mean?
Hammering it down, you mean? Right.
Oh,
exactly.
Why do you have a hammer?
It's my wife's fault. She was taking a picture and left it in here. Anyways. I
mean, it worked out, but.
You asked, so I put you behind the scenes. But I got over here. I think with Kyler Murray doing his thing with that receiver core, and Cooper Kupp still isn't hurt yet somehow, so that's awesome. So there's going to be some points there too. I definitely have the over in this game.
All right, EJ.
I'm taking the over in this game first off, but I'm going to shock you guys. I'm taking the Rams here to win. I need to see a Arizona win on prime time. That a isolated win.
You mean another one?
Well, they lost to Green Bay on Thursday Night Football.
And?
I mean, that, come on now. I need to see until I see Arizona win a marquee game like on with the bright lights and stuff. Yeah, I'm still a little. I'm taking desperate Rams here. Desperation here wins.
Wasn't the first Rams Cardinals game in?
No, Fox.
Okay.
Fox at 4:00 East Coast.
Close enough to prime time.
No,
Rams won that one.
I'm not going to go there, Jim.
Lost that one handily.
No, the Rams lost that one.
Yeah, handily.
Right.
But that wasn't prime time?
No, that was a 4:00 game. That's a 4:00, red zone slate.
All right. Wow. How many primetime games has Stafford won?
He beat? No, Seattle doesn't count because Seattle sucks this year. I mean, Tampa was not a primetime game. It was a big game, but it wasn't a primetime game. Maybe Tampa, but that was
yeah. And it's a small sample size because he didn't get any primetime games in Detroit. So
right, of course.
I think I'm just saying consistency.
Let's do for a loss here. I think I was gonna do for another loss here. That's all.
Okay, it's fair enough. You could be wrong. It happens a lot. Matt.
Oh no,
Dick.
I will take the over, and I will take the Rams to lose, but stay within the spread.
All right.
Real close one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Nip and tuck, huh?
Agreed.
I'm going to go Arizona. I'm going to go Arizona plus. I will bet against EJ. I'll go out on a limb.
Of course. Yeah.
No, I think Arizona now that guys are getting healthy, the Rams, there's still something. I don't know what exactly it is. There's something not clicking.
Hey, they beat the Jaguars. Stop it.
Great.
They beat the Bills. I'll be quiet. Hey.
What's that?
They beat the Bills early in the year too. So
great.
Josh Allen somehow still had a great game. It's weird.
But and I think Stafford's banged up a little bit. So I think it's
he typically is, isn't
he? By this time of the year, yeah. So I think it's an uphill climb, especially going on the road. So give me Arizona plus, and I will take the over in this one.
That's a good bet though. The best bet here is the over though. I wouldn't bet this game on the spread, but the over I definitely would push.
Yeah. I think both.
That's your pick of the week.
I won't go that far.
Okay.
I won't go that far.
Well, what is your pick of the week?
Let me go through my list real quick. Hold on.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay. Actually, Cincy. Cincy actually my pick of the week.
All right. Okay. I can take that.
Well, I can always jinx the Cowboys and say the Cowboys pick of the week and then they lose.
Please do.
Oh gosh, here we go.
It'll be the one time EJ's right. Wouldn't that be a horrible thing?
The one time you act like a Giants fan. Anyways,
does anybody have anything else before we close this thing up?
No, bye.
Yeah, can we please stop with the Brady didn't need Belichick BS narrative now? Can we do that? Okay? Can we stop with this trash where Brady's the reason that the Bucs are succeeding? Oh, sure. He helps because he's better than Jameis Winston, right? I think we agree to that. But
that's hard to
do.
Setting the bar really high.
I'll tell you what is hard to do is take over the world with a limited receiver core and a rookie quarterback. That's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard to win a game with a quarterback that throws 3 passes and completes 2 of them. Pretty hard stuff, Bo.
It's funny, like my whole final thought here is kind of in concert with what Kyle's saying here. You know, doubt Saban and Belichick at Joe Peril. That's the theme of this week's Football's Awesome podcast. So we'll drop in a couple hours. You know, doubt Joe Peril. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I never doubted Bill Belichick, and it's not even that I doubted Nick Saban. I was doubting an Alabama team that gave me reason to question them.
Best Alabama team ever.
Multiple times this year. What's that?
Remember, I said about this guy.
They're still not the best. They're not even close.
I know. Relax, Jim.
But hey, what's that Lucifer gift that I keep dropping for you? I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
That's good English there, buddy.
All right, let's close this thing out. Matt, we'll start with you. Let people know where they can follow you and everything that you do.
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at 3CT Affiliate. Right now, I'm not really tweeting much except about holiday films, but I'm sure the Sixers and Flyers will get my ire soon if they haven't already. I just haven't been watching as much in the month of December. Thankfully for the Flyers case.
So you haven't missed much with the Flyers.
And you can catch me on Thursdays talking wrestling, all things from AEW, much to Jim's chagrin, up to WWE. Not that there's a tier. They're on the same level, everyone. Sorry, Jim. That's on Thursdays at 3 Count Thursday. So give that a listen to as well. Go Irish. Fuck the Cowboys.
I agree. Fuck the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I 100% agree.
Wow.
Hey, why are we coming down on the world's best mullet? Dude, come on.
Seriously, dude. What's wrong with you?
Oh, okay, because he asked for it. Good point.
EJ, go ahead.
Earth Speaker Podcast on all podcast catchers. We just actually dropped our NBA 25 best players last 25 years episode with my buddies Chris and Zach. We just dropped that, and it's a pretty controversial takes on a lot of those parts of the show. Take the Wrestling Podcast as well too. Every Friday actually we drop that. We want to talk wrestling, of course. And I'm on Twitter, eachperson7. And Matt, your fridge is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Matt, your fridge is awesome.
Oh, did you see his fridge do on Instagram? Oh my God, it's amazing.
I apparently have not been on Insta. Oh, I think I'm following you, Matt. I just haven't checked it lately. You'll have to excuse me.
I'll get it up close. I'll get a closer look at that and the contents inside this weekend. The fridge.
That's what you said.
Just so we're clear.
Can we get the oh my gift?
Thank you. There you go. Thank you.
If you can breathe.
Well, you know it's a rough time when they're calling for the oh my wave. Holy snap. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the Stew of the Game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram, apparently not often enough, at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Stew of the Game. Hey, earlier, Matt mentioned Christmas movies. Listen, coming up here on Hilarity by Default, we got a Christmas movie we're going to talk about pretty soon. Eyes Wide Shut. Boom. There you go. Hey, if I hear this bullshit about Die Hard being a Christmas movie, I got something for that ass. Anyways, so you can also find my work covering the UCF Knights with the black and gold banneret. You can see my work as well covering the Jacksonville Jaguars and other upcoming college bowl games with the 3pointconversion.com. That's the number 3. Of course, I mentioned earlier, Hilarity by Default, the required viewing podcast with my friend Demosthenes. Just for you, EJ. I love you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
And of course, my work with the A7BN Sports, oldschool101.com, my friend Captain Chris Hill on the Captain and Company Morning Show. An honor, joy, and privilege, gentlemen. But until next time, class dismissed.
All right, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports. Make sure you're following along with the show at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. You can also follow the show on Instagram at Huddle Up Pod. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcast, all other podcast catchers. Subscribe on YouTube as well. Get your merchandise over at whatamaneuver.net. Our home network, of course, NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. And our secondary home is the leapsports.com. and Music Network, LEEIB Sports.com. Until next week, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the win.